All right, peace, 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 peace and blessings, family. This is your brother Yosef, and I am back with another video. It's been a while. It's been about 3 weeks since I've been on YouTube. I've mostly been on Patreon. So anybody looking to follow me more, you can follow me on Patreon. Link will be below the description. But I hope you guys have been doing well. It's been about 3 weeks since I've been on, so yeah, I'm back, family. I'm back, and these days, the things that make me want to do videos is more based on um, inspiration. Because I've dropped so much knowledge and videos in the past 3 years. Let me see, man, 4 years now since I've been on YouTube. So y'all got 4 years of just information that I've been dropping, right? And on the occult from every which kind of way, right? But what inspired me to do this video was, I do a lot of consultations, and over the past week, 2 weeks really, at least maybe 7 times it came up in consultations to the point where I kept saying, wow, maybe I should do a video on this. People could ask me, what is enlightenment? And they kept asking me about good and evil and how to understand enlightenment. Is it possible to reach it? And it's like all these questions came up on enlightenment, right? So I decided in this video to go ahead and talk about that, all right? And for those of you who are scary when it comes to metaphysics, this might not be the video for you, because we're going to talk about some dark stuff. We're going to talk about the dark side a little bit to help you guys understand enlightenment on a deeper level. It's always talked about from a right-handed perspective, which is cool, but let's talk about a little bit more from a left-hand path perspective mixed in with the right-hand path. So more of a middle path perspective, right? And I already did a video called How to Evolve in the Left-Hand Path. You guys can go watch that video. That was straight left-hand path video for people who want to grow spiritually and evolve in the left-hand path. Nothing against you, you know what I'm saying? So let me start out by saying this. For those who are on the left-hand path or trying to obtain enlightenment by reading chaos and dark side and any type of spirit stuff, this book right here is not, you know what I'm saying, the end-all be-all. This is baby stuff, this is the Anton LaVey, you know what I'm saying? Paid $9 for this book years ago, right? I read this book maybe 3 times. And it's not what you think, right? But, the Satanic Bible. This scares some people to death, okay? It scares some people to death. It shouldn't, because you need to read it. Don't judge a book by its cover, right? But it's just religion, y'all. This version of Satanism is just religion. You ain't going to really evolve from this. Like, you're going to need to go deeper, right? Into the deeper mystic meanings of what this could go into and what this could mean. So, people get scared of the symbol. With the Baphomet on it, they get scared of what it could say, especially Christians. But it's deeper than that, family. So if you're reading this, read it, get the philosophy of it, and move on. This ain't something you want to go on studying. This is a religion, family. The Satanic Bible is a religion. That's all it is. It's a religion, and that's all you're gonna get from it, from a spiritual perspective. Okay. Now, one of my favorites, right? One of my favorites. As teacher can't reveal everything, right? That's what they say in martial arts. The martial arts masters never reveals everything. But this is one of my favorites. I'll talk about this book a lot. I know it's really expensive. I think some people have been able to find it on PDF. But the Kabbalah Kalipov and Goetic Magic. Kabbalah Kalipov and Goetic Magic. Very powerful book. I mean, it gives you the clues to evolve, the idea of it, the philosophy, the storyline. Everything's in here. I mean, it's just a really good book. You know what I'm saying? And I bought this book some years ago. I don't remember what year it was. Maybe 2012, maybe 2010, something like that. I can't remember. Okay. But I want to read a few passages in here from the left-hand perspective about enlightenment, because, enlightenment is not what you think, family. Not what a lot of y'all think. It's deeper than that. And some of y'all think that only, and I'm saying this to a lot of my new members on YouTube, a lot of you guys think that only, and hopefully everybody listens to this, because Some people are so light-sided until they can't listen to nothing that has to do with the dark, and you need to balance yourself out, family. That's a fact. So let's talk about that for a second. Before I get to reading the passages in here, well, let me read one passage, right? This is dealing with Lilith, okay? When she awakens, this dark hidden goddess can bring man to the divine level. Okay? Let me go back a little bit. So you guys can get a deeper understanding. When the magician wants to channel a force of the Kalipa, Namaha, is called a pun. Notice that's a very interesting word, but I'll get into that later. This force is mainly used in the rituals regarding the influence and control of the material level. Lilith is the dark side of the Shekinah glory, and she corresponds to the Gnostic Sophia and the Tantric Shakti. The Shekinah, Sophia, and Shakti are the wisdom and force that are concealed in the material plane. When she awakens, this dark and hidden goddess can bring man to the divine level. What does that mean? The God level. In myths, this goddess is compared to a serpent and corresponds to the terrible primordial force that existed in the beginning of time before the male god of light created the world. She is Leviathan, or Tiamat, the ancient chaos that existed before the cosmos was ever created. That's some powerful stuff, y'all. That's some powerful stuff. Because you need chaos in this world. Once again, Kabbalah, Poetic magic, right? So, I wanted to read that to y'all, just to give y'all some insight on the left-hand path, and we'll go deeper into that in a second, right? Now, there are different levels of enlightenment, family, okay? And for somebody to call themselves enlightenment mean that they're not enlightenment, right? For somebody to call themselves, when you really reach it, you actually, it's not a thing that you notice. It's something that everybody else notices about you, that you are. And you are because everybody around you says you are. Because by that time of your life, you'll be around people that will recognize that, right? If they understand what enlightenment is. So enlightenment is not so much about obtaining a certain level and telling people that you're enlightened. It's a state of consciousness, and there's different levels to it. Everybody becomes enlightened on a certain level. And I'm going to tell some of y'all how you guys are enlightened on certain levels, and you may not know it. Okay? You might not even know it. Okay? The first level of enlightenment, family, in my opinion, I'm going to give y'all my perspective and my opinion of it. Because enlightenment is nothing but a realization. Right? It's all about realization, family. Okay? And when you wake up for the first time and you start noticing that something is wrong with the world, that's a certain level of realization. That's why you realize it and your mama, your daddy, your sister, and your brother don't realize it. Out of the whole family, you're the only one that realize it. Because you had a certain level of realization. Sometimes you didn't have to do nothing to get to this level. You just always believed it. So to a degree, you came into this world enlightened to a degree. Like you always felt and knew that there was more to this world, and the world you live in, you don't accept it. And now you watching Brother Yosef videos and whoever else videos out here, you're watching these videos because you are enlightened to a certain extent. So you're looking for like-minded people. Your soul is pushing you towards that. Okay? So when you're enlightened on a basic level, you just know something is wrong with the world. Okay? Now, when you enlighten when you get to that level of enlightenment, this will help some of y'all go to the next level. The next level of enlightenment is a person who, you enlighten, you know something wrong with the world, but you also know your purpose. You know your purpose and you know what you have to do in life. Right? Didn't say this was going to be easy. But some of y'all are still stuck on phase one. You know something wrong with the world, and you stay stuck on that. You watch videos and stuff being wrong with the world, but you don't go to the next level of finding your purpose, right? And finding out what you're here for and what you have to do. Everybody has a purpose if you're here. The good and the bad people, if you want to call it that, we all have purposes. Okay, so at the end of the day, family, on another level of enlightenment above that, you are a purpose. You are a person that you know who you are. You figured it out, and you know what you have to do. You feel it in your heart. You know what you have to do, family. Okay, I would call that like a level 2 enlightenment person, right? You know what you have to do. A level 3 enlightenment person is the most enlightened person on the planet, right? These are just my perspectives and the way I'm giving it to y'all. This is the person who has fully come in. They know that they're kind of like in what you call an avatar state. They know that they're God. They don't say it out of their mouth to feel good, but they know they're gods. Okay? They tend to know things without ever studying it. They just tend to know things in the universe. Okay? They are fully connected to the universe. They understand that they are one with the all. Okay? And they also, family, they also have full control over the ego. Okay? Full, entire control over the ego. All right? That's what could be considered a level 3 person. All right? If you want to put it in that perspective. This is a person who controls the ego. They're not a person that's getting erratic about what's going on in the world. They don't let the ego control them. So a good example of this would be in the Bible where Jesus was in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. And the Bible said Satan came, which is his ego. Right? They're the same person. Satan came, which is his ego. And then at the end of all that, he became enlightened. He went up and got his transfigured body. Okay? He became enlightened on a different level. He became one with the universe. One with the higher self. All right? So that's kind of what that is. Okay? So you guys need to understand that enlightenment only happens by way of realization. The more you realize, right, by contemplating, sometimes we just need to meditate on what we know and sit back and be deep in thought so we can come to a realization. That's all the Buddha did when he sat under that tree. He came to a realization, right? But you have to go through the different levels. You have to know who you are, what you're here to do. And really that realization has to come with understanding that everything and everyone is connected. So if you're still worried about what white folk gonna do, white people doing to you, white people running the planet, you'll never kind of reach that state because all that's an illusion. It's a game. You live in a simulated game. Nothing wrong with talking about it, right? But when you harp on that and that becomes your whole thing, that the powers that be, and nothing wrong with talking about it or telling people so they can have an understanding about it. It's when a person for years, that's all they talk about is what the government gonna do, and they never give solutions, right? And they just promote fear. That's the ego talking. And you can never reach enlightenment, which is the highest level of realization. Is called nirvana, right? Nirvana is literally a state of consciousness. It's like when you create your own world, and that is more of a right-handed path perspective. Nirvana is the world you create when you reach a certain level of consciousness or enlightenment. We're going to talk about the left-hand path version of that in a second. Okay, so the right-hand path version of that is nirvana, family. And nirvana is when you reach enlightenment. I just want you guys to really understand this, when you reach a certain state of consciousness in your enlightenment. Okay, now I had a friend named John who passed away. Y'all heard me talk about him many years ago. But he actually was deep into meditation one time, and he said that he was in a circle of people, and I don't know if it was a Buddhist temple or what, but he went to some kind of place. I can't remember what he told me, they were meditating. And he said that the teacher told him to keep chanting the word Sat Nam. Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. Breathe in Sat, exhale Nam. Breathe in, so he would get into this rhythm. And by this time, John was right-hand pathed. He was, very studying under shamans, very spiritual on a certain level. And he was in his meditative state with his teacher. And he said all of a sudden, he said he felt the smell that he said, I've never smelled nothing that good in my life. He said he started to have this experience where his senses started to experience something outside of what the world he was in. He started to smell a smell. He said the closest thing he could explain to it is like honey mixed with some flower. He told me. I don't remember what flower he said, but he said it was a like a heavenly smell he smelled. He said all of a sudden he started to hear music, the most beautiful music he ever heard in his life. And he said all of a sudden, he said he didn't feel like he was in the same place. He felt somebody push him, right? He felt somebody push him. When he pushed, he said he opened his eyes and he was standing in water, right? He was standing in water, and he said the fish was talking to him. I don't remember what he said the fish said, but he said the fish was talking to him. The trees, he was in this perfect state of peace and harmony. And he said it was just perfect. It was perfect. And he said that he knew at that point that he was part of everything in the universe. Everything. He was part of everything, and he knew at that moment. And all of a sudden, he felt somebody grab him around his neck, and he got pulled, and he came back. And he went and opened his eyes. His teacher was standing in front of him. She said, "What did you see?" He said, "I saw this place." He started crying because of the beautiful place he saw. He said, "I saw this beautiful place." And she said, "Yeah, you were in nirvana. You reached a certain level of consciousness at that moment. You experienced it." And he started crying like, why'd you pull me out? Like, you should have left me there. And she said, "You had to come back." Like, she said, how long were you there? He said, "Probably 30 seconds. She said, "No, you was in that meditative state for like 30 minutes. 30 minutes here." And he felt like he was only over there for like 30 seconds. And so he's told me about this story about how he experienced nirvana at one point. This height state of enlightenment. I thought it was cool. I haven't experienced nirvana yet. I have seen heavenly states that were beautiful. I don't think it was nirvana. Maybe it was. I don't think it was, because they were beautiful states. But I don't, remember being in a certain level of consciousness where, I don't know. It's a good question, family, because I have experienced very high worlds, and I most likely did experience nirvana and don't know it. Because I have been in places that I didn't want to come back to Earth. I have been in those situations. Maybe I just experienced it in a different way. I never thought about that till this video. So, yes, I never thought about that I actually reached nirvana. I don't know. I'm not even going to say that I have. Right? I'm not going to say that I have. So that's what that is, family. So on the right-handed path, the highest level of that is nirvana. Okay? Nirvana. And I want you guys to understand that, enlightenment has nothing to do with good and evil. Y'all got to get that out of your head. Get out of your head that you have to be smiling all the time, and you have to be on this vibration of love and light to reach enlightenment. You don't. There's different ways to do it, and that's really what this thing about. It's about getting out of here by any means necessary, and there are different paths that people can take to get out of here by any means necessary. Okay, and that's what one of these books show you about nirvana and enlightenment. Like you guys just heard me say, you can go through the dark goddess that they called on here, that they dealt with in here, Lilith, and and people evolve that way on the left-hand path. They do. Okay? I'm just one of the people that like to give it all to people. You know what I'm saying? So let's read this real quick, family. There are 3 chakras, 3 of which are secrets and are only open to very advanced adepts on the left-hand path. The next step is to reach Sarashara chakra, the Sarashara chakra. There's different names for chakras, people call them. But through the awakening of the Ajna chakra and the secret chakras, the adept can take a step beyond what is it? Sarasara. Okay? That's what they call the chakra, Sarasara. And the 10th level, and through Sunya to the 11th level. 11 is the gateway on the tree of life. 11 is always the gate in and out of the tree. So you would take the 11th Sephirah to get in the dark side of the tree. And there's another 11th chakra on the back side that take you outside the dark side of the tree. That's a whole nother story. So it can take you from the 10th level to the Sunya level, which is level 11, right? In this level, you can create new worlds beyond Sunya, beyond the 11th level. on the other side of the black hole, the adept will also find infinite light that has previously been experienced as darkness. So what is that really saying? What you experience as darkness is actually what people get into as true light. They just don't call it darkness. And the higher levels of that, you can experience higher levels of light, which they call infinite light. Okay? Infinite light. So this is very important. And here's a picture of the, you know, of the chakras. You know, here's the Sunya chakra. So once again, on the front side of the tree of life, you have the 11th chakra, which is called the dot, or people call it Darth or Da'at, right? And that takes you to the dark side of the tree. But when you get on the dark side of the tree, the Kalipoff, there's another 11 gate that can take you outside of the dark side of the tree. That's really what I'm telling y'all. And if you are in these left-hand path schools, there's an initiate level where you can go up and you can actually learn how to access that. So what I'm really saying here is the left-hand path, they reach enlightenment by way of doing it themselves and keeping themselves separate from the help of God. They want to separate themselves and create their own universe. But they got to understand that that energy they have to create that universe still came from God, or what you call the source. So they try to separate themselves from the source, which is impossible. You can't really separate yourself from the source because everything you have came from the source. So there'll never be a separation. But if you choose to feel like you want to separate and create your own universe, you can do that on the left-hand path. On the right-hand path is more about pulling yourself into the source and becoming one with the source, or what they call going back home. So it's a direct path home. That's what the right-hand path teaches. The left-hand path teaches to be that prodigal child, that prodigal son, you know what I'm saying, that stays away, but maybe in the future eventually comes back. There's a road back to home if you want to go home. The middle path deals more with a very wise path of learning both sides as you go back to the source. It is a direct path also to the source, but it's about knowing and understanding your brothers and sisters on both sides as you go home. That's kind of what it is, family. So I hope you guys understand that. And I don't down the left-hand path or the right-hand path because I read these chapters to show you guys that there's many paths to enlightenment. And that's something I really, really want you guys to understand. Okay? Yes. So I'm not going to read no more. I just wanted to get on here and talk about that because I got so many questions in the past few weeks about enlightenment and what enlightenment is and what are you supposed to do to reach it. And it's really about family realization. Once you've studied and you've experienced, you need to gain wisdom by having a realization based on what you experience. Realization deals with your truth, right? It deals with the truth. But like the great Dr. Blair said, there's no such thing until you decide what the truth is. So when you decide what the truth is, you just created your own path back to God, is what we're really talking about. So there's no wrong way to evolve. It just ain't. Your job is to create that new way and believe and trust in yourself. Of course, there's going to be people that say it's not the right way. Well, we all know that there's different paths to God. This is the truth. Or different paths back to the source. Which one are you going to take? And all you're getting knowledge, get an understanding. So you can evolve and go from information. So you got different types of people out here, right? You got people that have a lot of information. Okay? Doesn't really affect people, but it sounds good, right? You have some people that have a lot of knowledge. So they know a lot of things when it comes to books and people. They know things. They travel to different countries and they know things, right? Then you have people with wisdom. And people with wisdom have had the information, the knowledge, but they want to step above and want to experience. They experienced the spiritual, or the other side, or the unknown, whatever you want to call it. They had an experience, and they can come back and tell you what that's like. That's what that is. So that's how the left-hand path and right-hand path, which is really an illusion. But in this world, we have people on sides like that, right? That's really what that's about. It's about people who just found different ways to do different things. That's all. That's all, family. So that's what the game is. Don't play the game. Don't get into the left hand, right hand. Study it all. Study it all, family, because that's where I was at one point. I thought it was all about left hand path, dark side. Then I said, dang, it can't just be this. I went to the light side and understand that I was unbalanced on both sides. And I had to go up the middle by taking it all in and just be a magician, be a spiritual person that way. And that was a benefit for me, family. That was a great benefit. So I just wanted to get in here and do this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been a while. I got more videos coming. Um, like I said, if you guys want to follow me more, you can follow me on my Patreon. Link will be below the video. Thank you guys for all the love and support that you came through and showed me on Brother Rich's platform. I really appreciate that. That I did the other night. And yeah, Brother Yosef got some good stuff coming. I just been busy. So thank you guys for your patience with me. And I will holler at you guys in the next video. Peace, family.